What's going on, guys? It's Logan, it's EJ. Welcome back to SwampCast, baby. We're here, the 2025 men's basketball national champs. Let's make it happen. Dude, I remember EJ, he was telling me, he's like, Logan, you got to start watching basketball this year, man. We got to talk about it on the podcast. This is a good team. We got some good players. We got the man himself, Thomas. And, yeah, man, it just... He called it right from the get-go. He's like, we have something special this year. We need to watch it. We need to talk about it. And look what happened. We defeat the Houston Cougars. We got them final score 65-63 and an insane comeback. It seemed like this entire tournament was just comeback central for the Gators. We couldn't have one game where I wasn't having a heart attack. Like, it was constantly, we were down by 12, 10, 8 in some of these games. And it's just like, what was it? UConn was insane. I feel like UConn was even more than that. Texas Tech, and it was just one after another, man. The easiest game we had was the first game we played against Norfolk State or whatever they were, and obviously that was an easy one, but man, everything else was brutal. EJ, how you feeling, man? The Gators are the national champs.
Woo!
Yes, sir.
Man, we are still celebrating a week later. It was a week to the day that we were stressed out, just anxiety. Oh my God, are we going to win this game? We said, oh, this game's so close. And we're national champs. Like, can we take a moment to appreciate that? SwampCast crew here.
And this
National
picture behind you.
Freaking champions. Oh, yeah. Let's look at that real quick. Hopefully it's not blurry. This was my seat at the Alamo Dome, where we got to see the Gators take on the Houston Cougars. Whose house? Gators house.
I love it.
Because they everyone stole our "It's great" chant, so why can't we steal a chant ourselves? But yeah, man, I knew something was special about this team. The first few games of the year, where it just looked like we were deep. We had the right formula. We were coached right. We had a dynamic scorer in Clayton. We had great front court players. We had a balance of experience, guys who had been there before. But most importantly, we played a little defense this year. And this team just goes to show you, you got to be well-rounded on all sides of, in the game to be able to go all the way. And it's been, I don't know, dude, what, 18 years since the last national championship.
Yeah,
And you could tell Gainesville was like ready for this. We were just a sleeping giant.
yeah.
Weren't
Dude,
we?
think about it. They're all my age. Like, I'm 20 years old, turning 21, and I was born in '04, so yeah, I've experienced all the, the recent natties, but I was a kid. I didn't know what was happening. So this is the first true one, except for the baseball in 2017. But
Yeah.
it's just a different scale when it comes to basketball and football, man. And Gainesville is itching for it, man. It's crazy that you have like the parents in their generation that got to experience, Gainesville going crazy with the Spurrier era and everything, and now you got their kids out here, in the swamp, man, and in Gville, baby, experiencing another national championship, climbing red lights, falling off of them, all the above, baby. And it's wild, it's rowdy. I had a lot of friends up there in Gainesville, man, and University Avenue is just insane. I mean, just absolutely stacked. Just shoulder to shoulder, man. It looked like a theme park. It was nuts, bro. So yeah, it's just, it feels good, man. It's the first true one for me, and I was talking to EJ about that. It's just like, it's a great feeling. I've never felt like something like this before, bro. I was just getting emotional, bro. I'm like, this is it, baby. We're the champs. So it's great, man. It felt good, bro. Gator Nation needed something like this. I think one good thing too, EJ, and I want to hear your opinion on this. I feel like when something like this happens in one major sport, you get that momentum and that morale boost to the other sports as well. And hopefully that transitions into football and baseball and some of these other programs that have been, struggling as of late.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. The value goes up. And now in this era of NIL, and you've got to generate revenue, man, winning a national championship, there's no better proof of concept and proof of investment power when it comes to NIL than actually winning the entire thing. I mean, that's insane. Like, I still can't get over it. Thomas Houck. Okay, I'm like doing my dues by buying his shirt here with NIL. We got to get him to come back. He's got Tommy, if you're hearing it, you got to come back
Yes,
one
sir.
more year. Um, but yeah, but you're absolutely right, man. Like winning the championship, investors want to know, they don't want to risk. They don't want to take a risk. But once you've proven a concept that this program is capable of cutting down the nets, hey, the money's coming in. I think we raised $1 million after the national championship on NIL.
Yep.
And I don't know, dude, what do you think? Should we give Scott Strickland? He's taking a lot of heat. Poor guy. He's taking a lot of heat over the last few years. But I'm telling you, when Mike White bailed for Georgia, Scott Strickland only had one guy that he even remotely even looked at. And it happened quick. And next thing we know, this little Todd Golden guy who's 36 years old comes rolling into Gainesville. And 3 years later, he's cutting down the Nets as national champions. So I don't know. I think we got to give him I think we got to give him a pat on the back for that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think even the Billy Napier hire was the correct hire to go after. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think you're gonna have hits, you're gonna have misses. I think the one thing with Scott Strickland that I have a problem with is pulling the trigger. You know what I mean? Whether that was on Mullen, whether that or not even Mullen, but Todd, Todd Grantham, that whole situation. Like you have say in all this stuff. You're the AD, you're the athletic director. You know what I'm saying? And that's the craziest thing, and that's probably the worst situation of it all. It's like every other sport is rocking right now. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, baseball's having a weird year, but I mean, softball's doing great. You know what I mean? Like everything's really, really going for us, except for football, and football's sadly the one that really matters. And so,
Yeah.
listen, I think Scott, and this is obviously basketball talk, but when we've said this multiple times on this podcast, but you know, this upcoming year, 2025, is the year that Scott Strickland and Billy Napier circled for their national championship run or playoff run. When Billy Napier first got into Gainesville, I truly do believe that.
Ooh, yeah.
I know multiple other people have said that, and I think it's true. 4 years. There's no excuse that you have 4 years into a program, no matter how bad it was beat up. You know what I mean? We have the transfer portal now, man. This is not the 90s where you don't have these different things and these different tools available to you. And I know it's a money game. I get it, and we're gonna get into the Nico Imaliava. I think I just killed that name.
Oh
Dude,
yeah,
stop
you
playing,
said
bro.
it
Stop
right.
playing.
Good
Let's get it. I'm
job.
proud of myself, dude. We can end the podcast now. No, so we're gonna get to that in a bit. But so NIL is a big issue. I totally get that, and I think that Billy Napier is a guy who would have prospered back in that kind of late 2000s era, before NIL kind of came in, maybe the early 2010s, with his style of coaching like Nick Saban, but you got to adapt, and 4 years of having a program with all these different tools, counting the transfer portal, you can rebuild a team in a matter of a season. And I don't think it's any excuse now that you have your guys. Obviously, the DJ Lagway injury is a problem. He did come out though in the orange and blue game for a few snaps. Obviously, didn't really do anything. But the injury does look like it is progressing a little bit. So if DJ Lagway is 100% for this season, we have no excuse to not make a playoff game. And if we don't make a playoff game, I'm sorry. If we don't make a playoff game, if we get 7-8 wins, I'm very disappointed. And Scott Strickland, you got to force Billy Napier to make some kind of change. And in my opinion, that's getting Billy Napier an offensive coordinator, and forcing a hire there. But anyways, that's a whole other story. I like you were talking about Todd Golden. I think the youngest head coach since, like, is it ever, or is
Jim
it?
Val Jim Valvano
Okay.
in '83. Yeah, that's even before me.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was a long freaking time ago.
There you go. So that's great to see, man. And Todd Golden coming in. I mean, what was your thoughts on that hire when it first happened? I mean, did you know about Todd Golden? What was like your knowledge on that, EJ?
So, I mean, first I'll say I completely agree with you, but Todd Golden put a lot of pressure, not just on Billy Napier, and who was at the game, by the way. And I took a picture of him. I was like, "Hey, Billy Napier, come back!" He like ran off. Oh, and they were giving away free pizzas, so that's why we went to that gate. They were giving out free pizzas at the end of the Final Four game, and or national championship, and then we saw Billy Napier running. I was like, "Are you gonna get pizza, Billy? What's going on here, buddy?" And
I love it.
but yeah, but think about the pressure. What's going on in Billy Napier's mind that Todd Golden, and I'm not saying college football is necessarily harder or easier to win a title in college basketball, but in college basketball, you do have three times more programs. Okay. It's not as, I don't think per player, pound for pound, there's as much money in college basketball, but March Madness is a $1 billion event every single year. Um, and you do have a lot of blue bloods in college basketball that Todd Golden just took down to win the national championship. And in the SEC, um, best conference in football, just won the championship in basketball. And analytically, this was like the best conference in history in terms of offensive and defensive efficiency for all the teams. 14 teams made the NCAA tournament, which is like insane. Insane. That would probably be equivalent to like how many college football playoff teams do we have? Three, four?
I think three, right?
I think we had three. That would be like six. I would probably say, well, maybe not six. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably five, around like five or six football teams out of the 14. Wait, we have 16. Out of 16 making the playoff. Like that would be the equivalent. And Golden was able to do that. So just tremendous. But like I said, back to your original question, I knew that when Mike White left, it came down to what's your strategy? Is your strategy usually there's three. There's the COO in waiting, which is like we have an assistant coach that is going to end up being the coach. That was Duke's strategy, right? Like their coach Shire was a former player under Krzyzewski. He mentored by Krzyzewski. He was ready to take over. We didn't do that model. There's a go get the proven guy model, which is like, okay, Arkansas goes out there and gets John Calipari. Texas just hired Sean Miller, who's a well-known coach. Were we going to do that? Or you roll the dice and go get the up and comer? I feel like rolling dice and getting the up and comer has always been kind of, um, well, probably not always Scott Strickland because he did get Dan Mullen that one time. Dan Mullen was more, I would say, of a proven winner. He just had not been the head coach of a major
Hmm.
blue blood team. Um, but Jeremy Foley was more go out and get the up and comers, like the Spurriers, the Billy Not, the guys that did not, even Urban Meyer, you could call, at the time was an up and comer because he hadn't won a national championship before. He hadn't won at Power Five, Power Four level before. He was at Bowling Green in Utah. Um, and so that's kind of been our success. Like we won our national championships by getting these up and comers, and we've hit on them every single time. It didn't hit with Mike White, but it hit with Todd Golden. And the reason why it hit, and let me just be clear when I say this, it's because that up and comer coach was an offensive first coach. Urban Meyer, he ended up having great defenses, but he was known for offense. Him and Dan Mullen, they were known for offense. Billy Donovan was known for Billy ball, pick and roll, pop a three, dunk the ball at the rim. Todd Golden, same thing. It was sort of like this Gonzaga style offense with really great athletes, right? That can play defense. So I think if we follow that model, now Billy Napier, that's the question. Like, is this guy like, are we? I don't really think we're that explosive on offense right now. So let's see what happens this year.
Yeah, man. It'll be interesting for sure, and we'll get into some of the orange and blue stats. There's definitely a lot of promising things, with a lot of non-promising things as well. So we'll get into all that, but But yeah, I agree, man. A lot of pressure is now on Billy Napier to prove himself after Todd Golden came in and did it in 3 years. Took a program that was literally just turned it on its back. I mean, it's insane, man.
Right.
We were known for that defense, with Mike White, with no consistency on offense.
No
We could never
offense.
fight
Right.
back with offense, and that cost us a lot of games. And then, Todd Golden comes in, like you were saying, comes in with all these athletes, man. The first guy he picks up, I believe, was Will Richard, who we can talk about his
Yep.
performance, man, in the first half of this game against Houston, which was so massive, man. He was the only dude out there hitting threes. Clayton was getting clamped up because they were just on him, bro. Double teaming him pretty much the entire first half. They were all over him. He couldn't hit anything. Not even a good look. I think he went to the half with 0 points, right? I believe.
Yep.
But you had Will Richard, man, really holding it down with, I believe, 12 points in the first half. Really, really playing a great game. And so got the first guy he got, man, turned out to be a big contributor to the first national championship under him. So that's a really cool storyline. And yeah, just so many athletes, man. I really wanted this team to do something, man. And when we were down by like 10 to 12 points in this game, I was like, dude, there's no way it's going to end like this, bro. There's no way. I was freaking out, bro. I mean, that was every game this tournament, but I was stressing out. And I was like, this team is too good to not be a national championship team. You know what I mean? There's so many NBA players everywhere, bro. Even the players off the bench are just dirty. I mean, I think Aberdeen's going to be that Walter Clayton guy for this next season. Clayton obviously on the team previously, was known to be a great shooter, but wasn't like, the Trey Mann or anything, right? That kind of starter. And then, he kind of came out this year and took on that starting role, the leader of the program, and really took it and got it by its reins and led him to a natty. And I think Aberdeen can definitely do that this next year, man, because it's a Dr. Phillips boy, baby, Orlando boy. And
Yes.
he's so dirty, man. You talked about it. We were undefeated when Aberdeen hit a three. And so, he's a great player. I love that Todd Golden also gave him a lot of opportunities to lead the basketball team this year. There's a lot of drives where Clayton was on the sideline for a good period of time, and he let Aberdeen take control. And I thought he did a good job. He has a lot to learn for sure, consistency wise, with shot selection, and a lot of other things. But yeah, man, I'm really excited for the future of this Gator basketball program, especially with Todd Golden at the helm.
Yeah, dude, and just so everyone knows, the reason why we ended up winning the championship is because of Logan's loyalty in watching the team. Because I just want you to know, if he watched every game, we probably would have been undefeated. Okay.
We would have been that 2014 Kentucky team, but we would have won the Natty too. Yeah.
Right, we would have been undefeated because I'm telling you, every game that he watched, we basically won. And the Georgia game, I think you didn't watch the first half or something like that,
Yeah.
and then you watched the second half, and then what happened? We like outscored them by 25 points. The problem was we were down by 26.
Yep.
So we couldn't outscore them to end up winning that game. But yeah, dude, like Golden just I think showed you, and maybe and we'll transition to football, but um Golden showed you that you don't have to always have the highly compensated NIL players. You don't have to win the national championship with um top 100 number one ranked recruiting classes, but you do have to be really, really, really good at developing what your strategy is for your roster in terms of how you're going to score and how you're going to defend, and having that talent evaluation to be able to find guys that other people may not even want, that aren't on the radar, and put them on your team to gel. Also, these highly compensated NIL guys that are just floating out there, we're going to talk about Nico in a little second here. Um, do they come with some toxicity? You know, do they come with that inability for other teammates to embrace them and really want to give their all for the team, everything for Florida? And that's the challenge that coaches have nowadays, because when you look at our team, our team loved one another. This basketball team, they loved one another. They all knew their role. They knew exactly what their job was. You talked about Denzel Aberdeen. Denzel Aberdeen can start for 100 different programs right now, but he comes off the bench, gets 15 to 18 minutes a game, and he knows. I love when he comes in. It's all gas, no brakes, but he knows, hey, my role is to come in and push the tempo. Because when I come in off the bench, the other team is always expecting, oh, they're gonna slow down a little bit. The bench guard is in, he ain't gonna do that. Aberdeen was like, bump that. I'm taking it to the hole. I'm hitting you with a turnaround mid-range. And people are like, oh crap, this guy can take it to the hole and score. Like I'm worn out. And then you come back with Clayton. Then it's like you're dead in the water at that point. And Golden showed me that he's, willing. He trusted Aberdeen, like to be in the game late in the game because Aberdeen was performing. And Golden has that great. Um, Golden has another characteristic that I don't think Billy Napier. I think Billy Napier can learn from, and that is playing the guy that is the hot hand irrespective of what your plan is, you know, irrespective of seniority, irrespective of, okay, well, I got to give this running back 10 handoffs and I got to give this running back 10 hand. Okay, which running back is pounding and getting 10 yards of carry? That's who you need to get the ball to. And Golden just he had the knack for doing that. Throughout the season, going with the hot hand. So I love this team. I will say this. What are we? We have 6 national championships between football and basketball in the last 20 years, 3 each, plus the one baseball title that you talked about in 2017. That is huge. Roster management, mix of experience and young talent and players that want to actually be Gators, which is Golden always talks about that. Do you want to be a Gator? And which Thomas Houck and Denzel Aberdeen and Walter Clayton Jr. wanted to be Gators. They love this program. Um, Golden's coaching adjustments, huge. And then also
Yes.
just being able to win multiple different types of ways. Like if you're down, can you come back? If you're blowing someone out, can you maintain? If you're not making your shots, can you play defense? If another team is scoring on you, can you outscore them? Like in March Madness, it comes down to you're going to play all these different types of teams. Can you win in different types of ways? Golden built a team that could do that, and hopefully that will extend over to football.
I totally agree, man. We obviously only have like 30 more minutes of the potty today, but so we'll go on to the football. But any last words on this basketball team, man? I mean, listen, this is my first time watching a full season of basketball, college basketball, and so this is a great introduction for me. Like I've always followed it and stuff, but dude, like we're starting off hot, baby. Them Gator boys stay hot, and
Yes.
it felt good, but yeah, any last words on this team, man, and what this group of guys meant?
Yeah, this will go down in history as one of the best teams really ever. And I know a lot of people probably from like my generation who fondly remember the '06, the '05, '06, '06, '07 teams as, running through the tournament and being dominant. But relative to the competition, meaning there wasn't another team in that '06, '07 that could rival Florida. It probably was Kansas if I'm now thinking about it. But the lucky thing is we avoided Kansas that year. This year, Houston was the one team where I was like, oh crap, I do not want to play them. What the heck? And then they beat Duke. And I'm like, oh crap, now we have to play this team. So I'm just like, are we going to beat them? So you need luck. You need a lot of different things. But I will say this, what this does is it allows our team to be able to recruit, meaning if Todd Golden calls you, you know that you can trust this guy. He's a national championship freaking coach. Like, could you imagine being like who? John Calipari or Rick Barnes at Tennessee or even Kelvin Sampson at Houston, these older coaches who have done so much but don't have a national championship, and Todd Golden does.
Hmm.
I really think he's going to this is either going to be the first step in like a dominant sort of run for Gator basketball, which is what I'm predicting, or at the very minimum, a very, very, very good team every single year that has a chance to go all the way. So I think basketball is back, baby.
Let's go. Let's keep it going, baby. I hope so, man. I hope so. Definitely was a privilege to see that happen last Monday. Now let's go and get into the Orange and Blue game, man. It was a wild
Yes.
week. We finished off the week. Orange and Blue game was not televised. It was only on radio. And I there's a lot of teams not doing their spring games now, and I don't know the reason why. I know there are. I guess. Do you know anything about that and why teams aren't doing it? Because they
The
just
only
don't
thing
want to reveal.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is just the NIL and the money aspect of it, where um rosters are still being quite effective, negotiated at the 12th hour because the transfer portal, I think it opens up again in a week, I want to say, for
Oh
football. Yeah, so it
shit.
opens at the end of spring. So guys like Nico, who he can go in the transfer portal when it opens, and I think it closes on the 21st for basketball. So it'll close for basketball, then it'll open for football. so
Jesus, dude.
and right now it's kind of like there was a lot of discussion around spring football used to be huge, but this past year people just didn't invest too much in it because who the hell knows is gonna like are any of these people gonna be on your team when the end of spring after the portal closes again? So I think that's the reason why not a lot of emphasis.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. So I was not able to watch it, but I did get pretty much all the stats from it, and I actually have it on the screen. So I'm gonna pull it up
Oh,
for
nice.
everyone at home. EJ, I don't believe you can see it, but I will read it out for everyone. So we got right here. The final score of the game was Blue 38, Orange 32. Now, Orange had an insane comeback late in this game. Blue was ahead for a majority, and then Orange just started rushing back. Literally started rushing back. Or sorry, not rushing back, but actually came back passing with Harrison Bailey at the helm. So the blue team had Aiden Warner at quarterback. EJ's favorite Gator QB of all time, and then we have the orange team with with Harrison Bailey, the transfer from I believe was Wisconsin, correct? Um,
Uh, I think he came from Louisville, right? Or
Louisville, yes. I think he
Louisville,
might have
yeah.
started at I don't know, but yeah, definitely came from
He's
Louisville. You're
been a
100%
he's
right.
been a lot of different schools.
You're
Yeah.
100% right. He definitely, yeah, nowadays they're at like 20 before they get to their final school. But yes, you're 100% right. He did come from Louisville. And he actually had a pretty good day here. Finished 29 of 43, 363 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, with a long of 51. He did get sacked 5 times. So that's I did
Hey,
not.
the defense, baby.
Yeah, that means our D line's good, or that means our offensive line's rough. You know what I mean? We didn't watch the game because we can't, so we don't really know. All we can do is see little clips at the Twitter that they posted on Twitter and like different articles. But yeah, it seems like the D line did good there. So the orange team rushing wise, no big rushers on this side of the ball. They had Kelvin Jimenez, Duke Clark, and Anthony Rubio. And so you had pretty much everyone combined for like 64 yards. So not a lot of rushing there from the orange side. But when you have Harrison Bailey throwing the ball all over the place, you don't obviously need that. Receiving wise though, this is what was crazy. Dallas Wilson probably is the biggest standout of this entire game. He had 13 targets for 10 receptions and 195 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a long of 31.
Wow.
So Dallas Wilson looked phenomenal in this game. He broke a record, which is most receptions by a wide receiver in any orange and blue game, and I believe tied the record for 195 reception yards for any receiver in any orange and blue game. And those 2 receptions are obviously huge. He just always got separation, man. Some great sideline catches as well as what I've been told using his big body frame. So he just looked really nasty out there. And we had a lot of freshmen play really good in this game, EJ, which is really, really amazing. And so big game there from Dallas Wilson. You had Tank Hawkins, who had four receptions on 6 targets for 48 yards and 1 touchdown. And then getting him involved, man, is gonna be huge this upcoming season. I believe. I love him, dude. Playing him in the video game, he's so dirty. Next we got is Scott Isaacs. He had 19 reception yards. You had Nashawn Montgomery, another freshman with 70 reception yards and a long of 51. So he had a huge play here, and had 3 receptions on those 70 yards. And then you just had a couple of touches for Duke Clark. TJ Abrams had a few, and a couple of others, but nothing else going on there. For the orange team, let's see, nothing crazy on punting or, actually, I guess the punting is important, but our main guy, Tommy Doman, the 1 transfer, he's on the blue side. That came from Michigan, so we'll get to him in a bit. The other punters on the orange team both kind of looked garbage, so that's not great, but they're going to back up anyway. Let's see, defensive wise, for the orange team. So you'll see, we'll get to blue. Blue had a really good rushing game, a really, really good rushing game. And a lot of that is because obviously, Jacoby Jackson is an absolute monster, but also because our defense was really bad at tackling. Dude, I saw clips where we just did not wrap up at all. And that's obviously, it's spring, whatever, but it is very scary, EJ. And the reason it's scary is because we've dealt with bad tackling now the entire Billy Napier era. And it just seems to get, it got a little bit better late, kind of last year, I would say. But man, it kind of resurfacing here is a little bit scary, and not what you really want to see, from this game. But let me see what else we got. 1 second. I thought I had some defensive stats here. Okay. Yep. Here we go. So for the orange team, leader in tackling was Miles Graham and Jaden Robinson. So it's good to see those 2 guys get 8 tackles each, leading the team there. Let me see if we have any, no forced fumbles. Oh wow. Denson had a sack, and that's an 8-yard sack. So big on, Sharif Denson getting in there. Assuming playing nickel, right? Is that where he's probably going to be this year? I'm assuming he's in there playing nickel. Cormani McLean had a pass breakup, so that's obviously huge, alongside Jaden Robinson, Jaden Woods, and Devin Moore. So seeing those guys get in there, that's obviously amazing. Jaden Woods also had a quarterback hit, which in the orange and blue game I think is just a 2-hand touch, but he got back there, so that's cool. So we love to hear. So that's kind of the recap for the orange team. EJ, anything jumping out at you with those guys?
Do you know how they did the rosters? Was it just like 50-50, or because it used to be like back in the day, it used to be like the orange team would have the first team offense and the second team defense. And then like the blue team would have the second team offense, but the first team defense. It looks like, I don't know if that they did it that way, but it looks like the orange team had the first team defense.
Yes.
And the blue team had the first team offense. That's what it looks like, at least on paper. Because Jacoby Jackson, because like if we just look at the running backs, the orange team had Duke Clark, Kanan Daniels, Chad Gasper, and Anthony Rubio as the running backs. And I know for a fact that those guys are not in front of Baugh, Jackson, and Trayon Webb, which were all on the blue team. And so the blue team is running wild. Well, now here's the thing. If maybe we're just, I don't know. Is Jacoby Jackson like gonna be on a tear this year? I mean, the guy was good. Let's give him his credit. He was running over people last year. Okay? Jaden Ball, I don't think what did Jaden Ball get some carries in this
Oh
game?
yeah, oh yeah. I can get it. You want me to get into that for you? I can break down blue for you.
Yeah, that'd be great. But
Cool.
yeah, I just think that uh uh the standout to me was Dallas Wilson looking like a freaking incredible player and Jacoby Jackson running. He had a 90-yard touchdown. When's the last time we had a 90-yard Actually, we probably had it last year. I'm thinking, we had a couple of long runs, but I don't remember. Like, when's the last time we had a 90-yard touchdown?
Yep. It's been a minute. Been a minute. And there were 60,000 fans there to cheer it on, which is insane. I think that's the largest crowd attendance for an Orange Blue game since '09. After a natty,
Yes.
which keep that in mind. That's insane. So great show out from the fans. But yes, but also that's what I'm talking about, EJ. That big run by Jacoby Jackson, like we stuffed him. We had three guys surrounding him, and then he ripped himself from it. So great job by Jacoby, but also defense. What the hell are you doing? Like I have to send you that video, man. It was like the tackling really scared me there because we're wrapping around his shoulders, and I'm like, go after his legs, get low. Oh man, that was so frustrating. But a great dude. It was an amazing play by Jacoby, and even wilder. Like, you know when running backs have those big rushes and like you see them slowing down a little bit, and the other guy catching up. He had distance the entire way. Jacoby Jackson, he's an animal. This dude's
Yeah, he's
nasty.
gonna be a beast.
Oh yeah. So that's really promising. So let's go through that actually. So passing for Aiden Warner, he had 10 completions on 23 attempts for 157 yards and 2 touchdowns, with a long of a 48-yard pass. And he did get sacked 1 time, so not as much as Harrison Bailey got sacked because he got sacked 5. So that's all that went on the passing. Oh, also too for Orange team, Tramel Jones Jr. did have two completions on 3 attempts and 30 yards.
Okay.
Sorry, he's obviously the true freshman that came in. Nice little prospect. So he did get some time for the Orange team there late. But anyway, Aiden Warner, not nothing jumping really out there at all. But for the rushing, is like you were talking about, that was really, really big. Because you have Jacoby Jackson on 10 attempts and 198 yards and 3 touchdowns and a long of 90. That means he's averaging 20 yards a carry, which is insane in this game. And then you have Jaden Ball. Jaden Ball had 11 carries for 56 yards, which is still 5 yards a carry with a long of 14. So that's a very Jaden Ball number. You know what I mean? 5 yards a carry. That's pretty much what he did all of last year during the season. But one thing that Jaden Ball did do, because we can get into receiving, is he did have 3 targets, 1 reception, and the 1 reception was a 48-yard reception. So obviously a huge play there out of the backfield, which is, I don't know why we don't do that more with Jaden Ball. Like, get the ball into his hands. I think that's amazing. So I'm really glad that we're doing that with him. At least we did that with him in this game. Because Jacoby Jackson also had a completion, or a reception, I mean. It was a -1 yard, so there's a little screen. But huge for Jaden Ball. So even though it's not as impressive as Jacoby Jackson's, he still pretty much had over 100 yards all purpose for him on the field on Saturday. So still a big number for Jaden Ball. Receiving, you had Vernell Brown the third, another big prospect, 5 targets, 4 receptions, 34 yards, with a long of 15. Hayden Hansen, tight end position, 2 targets, 2 completions, 23 yards in total. So that's nice, 10 a pop. So we love to see. Already talked about Jaden Ball. Michael Strudviant. He had
Sturdivant.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
He had 7 targets for 1 reception. So that's kind of crazy. I wonder what went on there. But he did have that 1 reception, 29 yards. So that's really good to see. Hayden Hansen, by the way, had a touchdown on one of those 2 receptions. And then you have Aiden Mizell, who only had 1 target in this game, but did have 1 reception for 24 yards and 1 touchdown. And by the way, the yak yards in that was 19. So he did a lot after he caught the ball. So that's really good to see from Mizell. Already talked about Jacoby Jackson. Then we had a couple other targets to guys who did not catch it. There wasn't a completion there. That's DeBron Hampton and Taylor Spirito. So not a lot going on there. But yeah, so that's the offense for the blue team. Like you were talking about, EJ, really just a big game, big standout from Jacoby Jackson. really good job there. Punting, Doman. I think that's, yeah, just Tommy Doman, the guy from Michigan. He had two punts for 80 yards total, so it's 40 a pop. One was a 52-yard long. It's tough to really look at punting stats because it's like, okay, he didn't have one inside the 20. He had zero inside the 20, so that's not a good sign. You want to see, if you only see 40-yard punts average, you usually want to see one inside the 20. So the fact that there wasn't is a little iffy, but once again, we didn't watch, so we can't really judge him. But hopefully he can step up into that spot that the amazing Australian left. We got that's it, pretty much everything for the offense. Defensively for the blue team, we have the big standout was Ty Jackson, a freshman, who I believe wasn't Ty Jackson's the one that was committed to USC, correct? And
Yep.
then flipped to us. Beautiful. This guy's a monster, man. 11 total tackles, 3 solo, 8 assists. So that means that for the assists, my boy's getting in there, man. And he's attacking the ball even if the guy is already swarmed. He had 1 sack for 5 yards, 2 tackles for loss for Ty Jackson, which is amazing. The next one was Drake Stubbs. This is a guy that really stood out in this game. In coverage was a little iffy, but Drake Stubbs is a guy who I believe he had an interception, if I'm not mistaken. He did. He had one interception for 15 yards, 1 quarterback hit, 8 total tackles, 5 solo, 3 assists. So I haven't really heard of Drake Stubbs, but this is a guy who everyone was saying that to look out for him on this defense. He's going to be the guy. There's always one guy that kind of pops out randomly, right? On the team. Last year it was, Jaden Ball, and this, he had a great orange and blue game last season, and this might be the guy to look out for. This might be the Jaden Ball for the defensive side of the ball this upcoming season. So keep an eye out for Drake Stubbs, a guy that everyone's talking about. And then everyone else played well. Childs got in there a little bit. Slade, Asar, Cameron James, Titus Bullard, obviously son of alumni. But we have, let's see what went on here. Kofi Asar, number 22, had 2 sacks. He had 5 tackles total, but 2 sacks for 15 yards. So great by him. 1 pass breakup and 1 quarterback hit for Kofi Asar. So another guy I don't really know a lot about, so that's great. He's putting up some great stuff on the stat board here. Cameron James also had 1 sack. Let's see, and 1 pass breakup. So nice to see from Cameron James. Let's see what else went on here. I know we gotta hurry up and get to this other thing, but yeah, that's kind of what went on for the blue side. So yeah, what's your recap on that, EJ?
Wow, sounded really good. I love our um I love our roster. I do think that the first team that we put out there is going to be really, really good. The question is going to be that depth, and kind of like you were talking about the missed tackles. I really trust Caleb Banks, Gums on the uh, edge, McCray on the edge, Miles Graham, Pup Howard in the middle. But outside of those guys, who I wanted to see who was going to step up and start taking people down. Because at the end of the day, the Blue started out, they were up 28-3. And the Orange, you're supposed to have the first team defense. Maybe these guys are not playing. I don't know. But guys, we can't get down to now. Hey, they pulled it out of the basketball and made a comeback, but you're not going to be able to make a comeback because our team, if it's anything like the end of last year, we're not really built for comebacks. We're going to be kind of like UConn basketball, which is like we're going to minimize possessions. We meaning the other team, you're not going to have the ball that you're going to have to really score when you have it because when we get it, we're going to Jacoby Jackson all the way down the field, and it's going to take forever. And then DJ Lagway can hit you with a big, pass. But I think a lot of teams are going to defend. They're going to say they're going to put a deep guy deep, and then they're going to put everyone in the line because we got Ba and Jack. They're going to try to stop the run, and we're going to have to rub a dub chub our way down the field. And just like you were saying, passing out of the backfield, Lagway didn't really do the dump downs last year. We're going to have to do some dump downs this year. Take what the defense gives you. You don't have to go for the deep, you know, money making pass. So I think having the versatility on offense, being able to score every time you have the ball or be a threat to score every time you have the ball, that's why the basketball team won. Because we never got in a situation where we went on scoring droughts. Every time we had the ball, there was a very good chance we were going to score. Just like Ohio State football this past year. When they got to the playoffs, you better hope you got a fumble or an interception because when they had the ball, they were probably going to score, at least getting in the field goal range. We cannot have droughts this year against our schedule. When we get the ball, we have to be able to move it. And it depends on situations. Like last year, we had to be in great field position, put us in the 40, put us at the 50. No, I don't care where you give it to us. 1 yard line, 3 yard line, 80 yards away. We have to be able to move the ball down the field every single time into scoring position. And I think if we can do that, that's how you set your defense up for success. I think our first team defense is going to be great. Still a little bit worried about the second guys. We got Aaron Gates back. I really like him. So that's my little narrative. I was waiting to see that. But I will say that I'll finish with this. Dallas Wilson, that's the greatest receiving spring game since Trevin Grimes. And look how good Grimes ended up being. He was catching touchdowns. Now he should have stayed one more year. But hey, if Dallas Wilson can be as good as Trevin Grimes this upcoming year, I'll take it.
Oh yeah, no, I mean having him, dude, with Mizell and Trey Wilson, who didn't even play in this game, and you got Tank Hawk. Oh my God, I mean you're chilling. I'm worried about tight end position. That's another thing, EJ. I'm a little worried about. Hopefully Hansen can really
Oh,
step up there because Napier loves his 12 personnel, and I don't know if you can have more than one tight end out here if you if you don't really have guys stepping up there. So that's going to be an issue. I want to end it on this because we got to go. Trey Smack did hit a 56-yard field goal in this game. So he's 1 for 1. Love it, baby. That's a Trey Smack thing. One interesting stat though, he did have one out of bounds kick for kickoff, while this guy named Brandon Rabasco had a higher average than Trey Smack. Now, he did have 3 less kickoffs, but did have a higher average than Trey Smack by like 3 yards and 1 touchback and no out of bounds kicks. So, are we going to see this Rabasco guy come in and be the kickoff guy and let Trey Smack do field goals? I don't know, something that's interesting because Trey Smack has struggled with kicking out of bounds in previous seasons.
yeah.
So just something to pay attention to. Interesting stat there. But yeah, I think that's pretty good recap of the Orange and Blue game.
That's nice. Yeah, Smack. Hey, if we can just get the ball to the 40-yard line. Gators, please, please listen to me. Move the ball. We can't get into droughts. We got to score. Because when you score, that means guys like George Gums and LJ McCray, they can come off the edge. They won't have a little pressure on them. Love that.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, I think obviously I know we want to talk about the Nico stuff, but we're getting close now to the time, so we could probably push that to another time. EJ, I don't know how you're feeling on that.
Um, we can give a couple 4 more minutes.
All
So
right, cool. You
yeah.
say your piece.
Okay, so this whole Nico thing, absolutely, we need to regulate. So for those of you that don't know, long story short, Nico Imaliava is the quarterback of Tennessee. It was even rumored that last year he's represented by an agent, and the agents told Heupel even last year Hey, Heupel, our NIL deal for our client is only for 12 regular season games. And guess what? He's in the playoff. So is somebody going to pay $1 million more for him to be in the playoffs? And so that is what rubbed Heupel the wrong way. So now he ended up playing, but it wasn't that great. And the reality is now they're talking about he's skipping practice. He's not on the team anymore because they wanted the 2.4 million that he was making to now be $4 million. Josh Pate, I really like Josh Pate. He has great takes. He said that college football is basically being ruined by the people outside of the sport. So if you think about all these agents, not all of them, a lot of them are really fair, really honest, really transparent, but there are some of them who try to only look out for themselves and they're guiding these players in the wrong along the wrong path. And Nico is a guy that I don't know. Maybe this player knows he's not going to go to the NFL and is just trying to maximize his money, but it's just not a good look to drag your team this far into the mud. And now I feel bad for Tennessee. They don't even know like who the hell's going to be their quarterback. They designed their whole offense around this Nico guy, and now he's like, "Well, you're not paying me $5 million." I'm like, we need a freaking contract. We need a contract because if you decide that you're just going to leave because someone isn't going to pay you 2 million more dollars, that's not how life works. So now they're in a bad situation. And at least they had enough time to say no. Because remember, we had the Rashada situation where someone promised him all this money and it ended up bad. Now they at least had enough time to say, okay, we learned from that mistake. No.
We have a whole video talking about this. Like literally, we did a whole. Do we remember we talked like an hour one time about what we think that NIL structure needs to be? You guys can go check that out. I'll try to put it in the description down below, for you guys to go check out because man, we can talk about this forever. And I don't want to restate the same points. In my opinion, collectives are an absolute joke. Obviously, they need to be important right now. We need to donate to these collectives. It's the way that the NCAA is structured. But these players should be making money from their T-shirt sales, like what EJ has on right now, and their own partnerships. It should not happen through schools. They should not be making millions of dollars. And then the better you are, the more money you get, right? And
Yes.
and and it's through your merch, right? Because then the more of money people are going to buy for your stuff. Do YouTube channels, right? Make money off of vlogs. That's what NIL was supposed to be supposed to be made for. But the NCAA, being the NCAA, and Josh Pate, his 30-minute video about this was beautiful, and he hit all the right points. They don't care about this sport at all. They do not care. They're put in a corner. They had to release NIL and let it be a thing, and it obviously fell flat on its face. There's no restriction. So we're just in the worst state ever. It does not surprise me at all. It doesn't surprise me at all, and I don't think any college football fan is surprised by this, except the people that are for NIL. And you know what I mean? Because then they're like, "Oh, never, this would never happen." Then it happens. And so the fact that they were trying to get out of a playoff game is unbelievable. And it's going to keep happening, and it's not going to stop until we do something about it. So it's a joke. I do feel bad for Tennessee, but hopefully some quarterback volunteers. I'll stop.
Oh.
No, but yeah, like I said, we have a whole video talking about it. Go check it out. Link in the description down below. But yeah, EJ, anything else?
Yeah, I completely agree. And I just think there's no incentive to do better. Because if you think about this, like let's say this guy signs a $4 million deal. Why do I even need to play anymore? You're paying me $4 million. I can just go sit on that, skip team practices. We have no idea what these contracts entail. Do they entail you actually have to care about the team? You have to actually want to play hard. I mean, that's why the basketball team was so good because everyone wanted to be there. It was never about one person. Even though Walter Clayton, it was the best player, it was never really about him. He would always say that. He would always say, I was so good because my teammates made the decision to trust me and made the decision to allow me to be in a position where I could score points for them. He had that mentality. A lot of people don't have that mentality. So that's kind of like Florida State. Why were they trash this year? They had a lot of individual divas that they paid millions and millions of dollars to, and these people never even got on the field. Like, how the hell do you pay millions of dollars to people that they never get on the football field? And then when they do get on the football field, they don't give a rat's ass about Florida State, which is why they were so trash. And Mike Norvell did not recruit. He just went in the transfer portal and spent all these millions of dollars to get these people to come. And they didn't give a rat's ass about Florida State. They just cared about, hey, I make $1 million. Why the heck do I care that we're trash? So it's like, it's hopefully we don't have that level. People want to be Gators. DJ Lagway has always wanted to be a Gator, so that's why we love him. We can rally around that. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Sorry, we're back. Yeah, no, I think this is huge for the NCAA though. I think it's like this Nico thing is gonna force them to do something, and so we'll see what they do. They probably won't do anything smart, but because they never do, but we'll see. But anyway, man, we're gonna end it off there. We really do appreciate you guys watching this, man. Let us know your thoughts about the orange and blue game, about the Florida Gator basketball national championship. Let's go. Thomas Hawk, yes, sir. And then, of course, the Nico situation. We'd love to get your insight on that. Check out all the links down in the description down below. Man, we love y'all. Like, subscribe. We'll see you soon, baby.
Peace.